We got more NFL playoff action this weekend. The divisional round kicks off on Saturday. We're going to talk about the Detroit Lions hosting the Washington Commanders. The Lions are the biggest favorite on the board this week. Detroit's coming off that 31-9 win over Minnesota, clinching the division. Does that win say more about Detroit's defense without 11 starters, or does it say more about Sam Darnold? Well, we're going to talk about it, but before we do, I got to tell you about a promotion we have available right now at wagertalk.com. For a limited time, you can get 1 day free with the purchase of a 3-day all-access pass for the regular price of $69. So instead of 3 days, you'll get 4. This is available for any of the great handicappers at wagertalk.com. That includes this guy right here, still the number one big play handicapper at WagerTalk since 2022. Was the number one NBA profit handicapper at WagerTalk in 2024, and I earned my clients 128 units with my 4% and 5% plays in 2024, off to a solid 4-2 start with the NFL playoffs, cashed in a 5% winner on Monday Night Football with the Rams for the first half. As always, though, there's no purchase necessary. You're more than welcome to tune in just for the free picks. The only thing I ask from you is that you take the time to really smash that like button, and that will allow me to keep putting out these videos. Let's get into it. Detroit will be a 9.5-point favorite. The total sits at 55.5. We really got to look at that total, because when I see a total in the mid-50s or higher, that tells me we got to look at the player prop market. So before we get into this, I did pose the question, Detroit's 31-9 win over Minnesota, does it say more about this Lions defense that's missing 11 starters on the IR? You don't see many teams that are missing 11 starters on their defense. Really banged up, and it has cost them. They have really struggled defensively until they played the Vikings. If you look at their previous games, they lost to Buffalo 48-42, gave up 48 points to the Bills, gave up 34 points against San Francisco. They only gave up 17 points against Chicago, but the Bears fumbled the ball twice. They probably would have racked up closer to 30 points if they weren't fumbling the ball away. They did give up 31 points against Green Bay. You look at opposing quarterbacks against this defense prior to Sam Darnold's debacle, which we then saw in his first ever playoff start. That continued. Caleb Williams threw for 334 yards. Brock Purdy threw for 377 yards, and Josh Allen threw for 362 yards against this banged-up Detroit defense. And all three of those games were prior to that win over Minnesota. So I'm not ready to sit here and tell you that this Detroit defense is going to be A-OK and there's going to be no problems. In fact, I'm going to take Washington. This isn't going to be a premium play for clients, but if you ask me to pick a side, there are some 10s available. I think by game day, there will be 10s available for you. And I think getting 10 points with a team like Washington that hasn't lost by double digits since week 1 of the season. In fact, Washington's last 5 games have all been decided by 1 score. The average margin of victory in those games, 3.5 points. I think Jalen Daniels is a gamer. I like the coaching staff here. I think they can score some points against this Detroit defense. I'm not going to call for an outright upset, but I think this is an inflated line. So I will lean toward the Washington football team, or whatever you want to call them. I'm not going to go any further with that, but I think the best bet here is going to be in the player prop market. I will have available premium picks for clients. I'm going to have at least 3 premium prop bets for this game. But I'll tell you what to look at. First of all, the Lions, their team total is going to be sitting around 34 with a total of 55.5 and almost a double-digit favorite. That's practically 5 touchdowns. So if they're projected to score 5 touchdowns, you're certainly going to want to look at the anytime touchdown market for the Detroit Lions. And, of course, Jahmyr Gibbs, overpriced. He's minus 330, so we'll just scratch that. But you look at their top 3 receivers, St. Brown, minus 135, and you get plus money on Williams and Laporta. I think all 3 of those are good bets. I'd feel comfortable just grabbing all 3, hoping to hit 2 out of 3. Really hoping to hit 3 out of 3, which is extremely possible in a game that's they're projected to score 5 touchdowns. Worst case scenario, 1 out of 3. I wouldn't expect you to get skunked if you took those 3 bets. You look on the Washington side, of course, their team total is going to be a lot lower. I'm taking Washington plus the points, though. I think Washington will get their yards and their points against this Lions defense, given all the injuries. Terry McLaurin plus 110 for a touchdown. Zach Ertz plus 275. And Robinson Jr. plus 140. I think all great value there with the Washington touchdown scores. And then you look at the quarterback, passing yards, over-unders. Goff sitting at 270. Daniels sitting at 235. Both of those looking awful low. If you're expected to see these teams combine for 55.5 points, they're going to have to pass the ball. They're not going to do it by running alone. I like both quarterbacks to go over the number. I haven't settled on which my top 3 props will be. You'll have to go to my page to get that later in the week. But for this video purpose, it's Washington plus 10 and some strong advice to load up on some props for a game with a total of 55.5 and the favorite with a defense with 11 players on the IR. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And again, if you've got anything to say to me, even if it's nasty, you hit me up in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as I can.